With the restoration of his church in the latter days, the Lord commanded his servants to preach the gospel to all nations, kindreds, tongues, and people. In 1842, the prophet Joseph Smith proclaimed,
"Our missionaries are going forth to different nations. The standard of truth has been erected. No unhallowed hand can stop the work from progressing. But the truth of God will go forth boldly, nobly, and independent, till it has penetrated every continent, visited every clime, swept every country, and sounded in every ear."
As the church has grown in numbers, so has the world, and the obligation continues to preach the gospel to all people. For this reason, a new dimension is being added to the missionary program. Recently, President Spencer W. Kimball presented this challenge.
We must begin now the development of a greatly enlarged missionary force, greatly enlarged and better prepared for the work that we must do. The question is frequently asked, should every young man fill a mission? And the answer has been given by the Lord. It is yes. Every young man should fill a mission, but we must find a way to have every man prepared. I am asking that we start earlier and train our missionaries better in every branch and every ward in the world. Our young people should understand that it is a great privilege to go on a mission, and that they must be physically well, mentally well, spiritually well, and that the Lord cannot look upon sin with the least degree of allowance. I am asking for missionaries who have been carefully indoctrinated and trained through the family and the organizations of the church, and who come to the mission with a great desire.
To accept President Kimball's challenge, parents, leaders, and teachers must devote their very best efforts to the preparation of effective missionaries. Preparing a child for missionary service must, of course, be done primarily in the home. But on the stake or district president, the bishop or branch president, and the priesthood quorum or group leaders rests a great deal of the responsibility for getting young people into the mission field and getting them there prepared. Throughout this presentation, the terms stake president and bishop include district president and branch president. The stake president's responsibility is to make certain that every eligible young man in his stake has had every opportunity to participate in personal preparation for missionary service. In personal priesthood interviews with the bishops, he should get a report on the status of every young man in each ward regarding missionary preparation. The stake president should set a goal of having from 1 to 1.5% of the population of his stake in the mission field. Many stakes, of course, will far exceed this minimum. The bishop's responsibility in preparing a prospective missionary is second only to the fathers. The bishops should present President Kimball's challenge to all young men in the ward and assist them and their parents in every way possible during the years before they arrive at missionary age. Some bishops find it helpful to show the mission recommendation form during an initial interview when a boy becomes a deacon and review it with him. A bishop may even write a boy's name on the form and discuss with him the questions he will have to answer when the form is filled out some years in the future. This encourages the young deacon to feel that he has taken a step toward going on a mission and helps him to realize he must think and act accordingly. It also helps him to understand that the bishop has the responsibility of certifying whether or not a young man is well prepared and worthy to fulfill a mission for the church. At the end of this interview, the bishop could obtain a commitment from the deacon that he's willing to begin in earnest to prepare for the day when he will be old enough to become a missionary. The bishop could then put the missionary recommendation in a prospective missionary file, reminding the deacon that it will remain there until their next interview. When a young man becomes a teacher and the bishop interviews him again, the same file could again be opened. The bishop might point out that the missionary recommendation form includes questions about seminary participation and also the grade average in school. The young man can then be challenged to enroll in seminary and to do his best in school as a part of missionary preparation. The recommendation form would then be returned to the file, awaiting the next interview with the bishop. When a young man is ready to be ordained a priest, a mission experience is in closer view. The bishop should again interview him and make sure he is preparing himself to receive a mission call. The conversation should be frank and open about matters pertaining to personal worthiness. The recommendation form asks about the prospective missionary's driving record and his ability to handle a car. The bishop could appropriately caution the young man that a poor driving record could substantially affect his opportunities to serve in areas where automobiles are required. The bishop should again interview the young man after he has been recommended to be ordained an elder. Most often he will be 18, about 1 year away from a mission call, and the bishop can discuss in some detail the recommendation form which has the young man's name on it. This is a crucial period in a young man's life, a time when worldly influences are tempting him to divert his priorities, and the bishop should continue to encourage and help the young man in preparing for a mission. This is also the time that the elders' quorum president should accept his responsibility for the spiritual welfare of the newly ordained elder. He can exert a strong influence by establishing a friendly personal relationship. When the young man is reluctant to interrupt his education, when scholarships and athletic opportunities beckon, when his budding interest in young women takes on a new importance in his life, the elders' quorum president can assist in keeping the mission goal clearly in focus by providing mission-oriented instruction and experiences through priesthood activities. The young elder should be trained and encouraged to participate in ordinances of the Melchizedek priesthood pertaining to missionary work. This gives a necessary added dimension to his priesthood experiences. If he accompanies full-time or stake missionaries on their visits, the young elder can enjoy the spirit of missionary work and experience valuable opportunities to bear his testimony. The elders' quorum president can arrange for this activity by consulting with the ward mission leader. As the bishop interviews the young women of his ward, he can encourage them to become aware of their own missionary opportunities at home and their need to encourage young men to go on missions. The bishop may plan occasional sacrament meetings around the theme of missionary work and the preparation of missionaries. He may effectively use recently returned missionaries to teach and influence young men as they advance in the Aaronic priesthood. Priesthood quorum or group leaders have a responsibility to inspire the fathers in the ward to prepare their sons to be missionaries. One way they may do this is to emphasize to the home teachers the need for helping the families they teach see the importance of missionary work. Home teachers have the responsibility to give guidance so that the prospective missionaries in their assigned families will, in fact, go on missions. These, then, are some of the ways in which the missionary force can be greatly enlarged. How can it become better prepared? The parents, of course, are primarily responsible for missionary preparation, but priesthood leaders can assist by helping parents in providing the right kinds of experiences for their sons. For instance, the need for financial preparation is obvious. Every young man should start a mission savings account at an early age and contribute as much as possible from his own earnings. Having committed himself financially, the young man finds it easier to commit himself to remain morally clean and in other ways prepare to become a better servant of the Lord during his mission service. Avoiding debt is part of financial preparation. Some young men who want to serve a mission must be counseled to first clear up their financial obligations. A young man who is invested in an expensive piece of property, a car or stereo perhaps, and then expects the ward to pay for his mission has not developed the right values. The statement is still true, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. When it is necessary that help be given from sources other than the missionary and his family, great care should be exercised that the missionary contribute whatever he can. Another aspect of preparation that must be given serious attention is that of education. The study of foreign languages is of great benefit. Sensitivity to others is especially important. Throughout his life, a prospective missionary should develop a warm and open personality and be concerned about others. Developing these traits, of course, depends to some degree on those around him. A child learns love by being loved, and before a missionary can effectively teach people, he must first of all love them. Developing a capacity for hard work is also important. A missionary's life is a strenuous one. Knowledge of proper etiquette, use of good grammar, and many other aspects of desirable social behavior should be something a young man learns as he grows up. so that when he is a missionary, everything about him inspires and nothing offends. Not every missionary, of course, has the same opportunities for educational and social development. But spiritual preparation can cover many inadequacies and is the most important aspect of the preparation. From his earliest youth, the young man can be taught ways to increase and strengthen his testimony. He can develop a desire to serve. A mission is a challenge requiring that he be a ready and willing vessel for the Spirit of the Lord. Both father and mother should show, by example and by teaching, an understanding of the Savior and the principles he taught, and a willingness to follow them. If a young person grows up with a love of the Scriptures and a realization of their importance, particularly the Book of Mormon, the tools of missionary work will not be strange to him. If he learns at an early age the reality of personal communication with his Father in heaven, he will not feel alone when the challenges of the missionary's world seem sometimes too much to bear. And if he learns self-confidence by expressing himself, his beliefs, and his testimony, he will not feel inadequate as a missionary at the door or at the pulpit. As a natural result of spiritual preparedness, the young man will realize the importance of staying morally clean, so that he will be a worthy representative of the Lord. From the time he is old enough to understand, parents must help him to realize that moral cleanliness is necessary, not only for the filling of a mission, but for the living of a happy life. With the dedicated help of parents, stake presidents, bishops, quorum leaders, home teachers, and many others, a young man can enter the mission field with the qualifications described by President Kimball.
So when I ask for more missionaries, I'm asking for the very best. I'm asking for missionaries that have been trained better, earlier, and longer, so that each anticipates his mission with great joy. May each of us give to the Lord our very best efforts until, even as Joseph Smith predicted, the gospel has penetrated every continent, visited every clime, swept every country, and sounded in every ear, till the purposes of God shall be accomplished. And the great Jehovah shall say, the work is done.